love you to do so. And I think it'll be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win.
Two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Can I ask you about RFK? Because just moments ago, his running mate said they're considering endorsing you. Have you considered him for a role in the administration, and what role would that be?
Well, we haven't, but I would love that endorsement because I've always liked him.
Would you also consider putting him in the administration?
You're asking me a very unusual question. I haven't finished that question yet. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that would happen. He's a very different kind of a guy, very smart guy. And yeah, I would be honored by that endorsement, certainly.
Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan, said their campaign is considering dropping out and supporting former President Trump to avoid a Kamala Harris presidency. Shanahan framed the choice through her hope of reducing the risk of Vice President Kamala Harris becoming president. In an interview with podcast host Tom Bilyeu posted on Tuesday, Shanahan acknowledged the Kennedy campaign's recent conversations with the Trump campaign, which have centered on the possibility of Kennedy endorsing Trump in exchange for a role in Trump's administration should he win. She framed the decision on whether to endorse Trump around its impact on Harris's chances of victory in November, arguing Kennedy pulls more votes from Trump than from Harris. The entrepreneur and attorney admitted there are two paths for the RFK campaign to go down, one being to stay in the race and create more legitimacy for independent presidential candidates, or to suspend its run and endorse Trump, which could give him the lift he needs to beat Harris in November. Shanahan weighed the choice to stay in the race through a similar framework elsewhere in the podcast, debating whether Trump's openness to issues core to the Kennedy campaign, particularly vaccine efficacy and safety, make endorsing Trump a more appealing option than the risk of Harris winning. When asked about the role Kennedy could play in a future Trump administration, Shanahan speculated that her running mate may be open to taking a role as Secretary of Health and Human Services in a future administration, and said she has high hopes he'll be able to oversee the department. Trump said Tuesday he would certainly be open to Kennedy playing a role in his administration if the independent candidate drops out of the 2024 race and endorses the former president. The comments come after Kennedy's conversations with Trump last month raised questions about the future of his campaign after it was reported the two had discussed Kennedy dropping out and endorsing Trump. At the time, Kennedy insisted he was not dropping out of the race. Yet Kennedy remains far behind Trump and Harris in state and national polls, and has failed to gain ground since Harris took over the top of the Democratic ticket in July. A Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll conducted earlier this month found Harris at 47% support, Trump at 44%, and Kennedy at 5%. When asked for comment about Shanahan's remarks, the Kennedy campaign directed news outlets to a social media post from Kennedy on Tuesday, which read in part, "As always, I am willing to talk with leaders of any political party to further the goals I have served for 40 years in my career and in this campaign." Shanahan noted at multiple points in the interview that Kennedy does not have a clear path to victory, even as she held out hope for some miracle that would allow them to qualify for ABC News' presidential debate on September 10th. Shanahan blamed opposition from Democratic groups, including the Democratic National Committee, for undermining their campaign, which turned their campaign ticket into a spoiler. "I believe that if the Kennedy-Shanahan campaign ticket joins forces with MAGA, this would be a powerhouse. Trump and Vance need as much help as they can get to defeat Kamala Harris, and this independent political party would play a major key factor in helping MAGA succeed. If the Democrat Party remains in the presidential office, the United States is over as we know it."